What will be the author's special rights? We discuss with case laws. Therefore, introductions to the author's special right. Apart from the economic rights, the granted under Section 14 of the Copyright Act 1957, the author also enjoys a separate set of moral rights, also known as the author special rights. And these author special rights protect the personal connection between an author and their work, irrespective of the transfer or assignment of copyright. The Section 57 of the Copyright Act 1957 lists down the special rights of the author, commonly known as the moral rights, and grants the following two key protections. One, a right of paternity, that is, the right to claim the authorship of the work. And number two, the right of integrity, the right to prevent the distortion, mutilations, or modifications of the work if such alteration would harm the author's honor or reputation. These rights exist even if the copyright is assigned to someone else. These rights continue even after the author's death, can be exercised by the legal heirs also. So, the nature and scope of the author's special rights is the personal right, that is a link to the author's personality and dignity. Independent, they exist irrespective of the copyright ownership. Inalienable, that cannot be assigned or waived. And perpetual, that continue posthumously by heirs or legal representatives. And enforceable in court, the violation leads to damages, injunctions, and declaration. So therefore, this is the author special rights as described in section as explained in section 57 of the Copyright Act 1957. Okay. 1957. Now there are certain important case laws which will be discussed here. One is the Amarnath Sehgal versus the Union of India and 2005 30 PTC 253 Delhi, that is in Delhi High Court. So what that is the fact of the case that the government removed and stored a mural created by Sehgal at Vigyan Bhavan causing the damage. Delhi High Court. But this is a fact. The actually fact is the Amarnath Sehgal, a renewed sculpture, created a large bronze mural for Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi. The mural was commissioned and paid for by the government of India. In 1979, the government removed that mural without informing the artist. The mural was broken into pieces, stored negligently in a warehouse. The artist sued the Union of India, alleging the violations of the moral rights under Section 57 of the Copyright Act 1957. The issue is whether the destructions and improper storage of mural violated the artist's moral rights, whether the moral rights survive even after transfer of ownership of the work. Decisions of the High Court is that the Delhi High Court held that the moral rights are independent of economic rights. The removal and destructions amounted to mutilations of the work. The artist's right to integrity and reputation was violated. The court awarded rupees 5 lakh as damages, ordered return of moral remnants to the artist. So the legal principle, the integrity of the work, so the artistic work must be preserved. Mutation violates the moral rights. The moral rights under Section 57 are perpetual and inalienable even after sale or assignment. Now, in case of the Manu Bhandari versus Kala Vikas Pictures Private Limited, in that case, the actually fact is Manu Bhandari, her story was distorted while adapting it into a film without permission. That is, I can give you the details of fact. Fact one is the Manu Bhandari, a famous Hindi novelist, wrote a novel titled Aaka Banti. The novel was assigned for film adaptations to Kala Vikas Picture. The producer made the substantial changes to the storyline and characters. and the producer also altered the theme without the author's consent. The author claimed that these changes distorted the spirit of her work. So, issue is whether the distortions of a literary work in a film adaptation infringes the author's moral rights, or whether the assignment of a copyright eliminates the moral rights. So, in that case, that the court ruled that the author's permissions must be sought if substantial changes are made. Therefore, in case of Delhi High Court held that the assignments of copyright does not destroy the moral right. Unauthorized distortion prejudicial to author's honor or reputation is unlawful. The producer was restrained from releasing the distorted version. So, significance is that the moral rights protect the author's reputations and expression. So, legal principle, moral rights protect the creative integrity of the authors against the distortion, even in adaptations. So, this is the Manu Bhai case, and again, we can also see here that the Raj Rewal versus the Union of India 2020 case, Supreme Court SS Supreme Court cases, online Del 454. What is the fact of the architect of Hall of Nations, Pragati Maidan, challenged its demolitions. Raj Rewal, a noted architect, designed the Hall of Nations and Hall of Industries at the Pragati Maidan. The government demolished the structure for redevelopment. The architect claimed the demolitions violated his moral rights, particularly the right to integrity. Issue whether the demolitions of a building amounts to mutilations under Section 57, whether the architects can prevent the demolitions of a structure based on moral rights. The Delhi High Court ruled that the author's moral rights did not restrict the owner's demolitions right. So, in this case, the Delhi High Court held that the buildings are utilitarian works. The right to integrity does not extend to preventing demolition. Owners have the right to alter or demolish the building. The court dismissed the claim. So, here the legal significance is that author's rights are not absolute, especially when weighed against ownership. So, moral rights are not absolute and must be balanced with the property rights and public interest. So, this is the three case laws. Now, in case of the flowchart, the moral rights of the authors. What are the moral rights or the special rights of the author? In Section 57 deals with author special rights. Section 57, right of paternity, right of integrity, claim ownership, prevent mutilations, prevent distortion, prevent harm to reputations. Right of paternity, right of integrity, claim authorship, prevent mutilation, prevent the distortion, prevent harm to reputations. So these are the moral rights under Section 57 has automatically dealt with. Now, in case, what are the difference between the economic rights and the moral rights? The Section 14 deals with the economic rights and the Section 57 deals with the moral rights. What is this? Nature, ownership, after death, remedies and focus. Nature. What are the nature of the economic rights? It is commercial and transferable. And moral rights is personal, non-transferable. So nature, in case of nature, it is commercial, transferable, and moral rights, personal, non-transferable. Ownership can be assigned to another person, and the moral rights always remains with the author. And after death, may expire after 60 years, enforceable by legal heirs. Remedies, damages, and injunctions, declarations, and damages, moral rights in case of. Therefore, damages, the remedies available to the economic rights that under Section 14 is damages and injunctions. But moral rights in case of injunction, declarations, and damages are there. They can get the remedy by way of injunction, declarations, and damages. Focus, usage and monetization, and dignity and reparations. This is the focus You say that monetization is the focus of economic rights and dignity and revolution is the focus of the moral rights under section 57. So, author's special right under section 57 ensures that the creators retain a dignity connection to their work even after selling their copyright. These rights promote authorship, the integrity, recognitions, and artistic freedom, balancing economic control with personal respect. The Indian judiciary has actively protected these rights, establishing that the moral rights are as crucial as economic rights in the modern intellectual property regime.